16 years.
I know it.
It's been that painful.
Was sitting up there.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome to the December 2nd, 2014 Post Falls City Council meeting. We just completed a workshop before the meeting on planning and zoning, with Planning and Zoning Commission on commercial codes and potential changes. Clerk will note that all council members are present. Tonight we do have a nice presentation. I would like to have Keone Turbert Harrison come forward, please. Come on over here. Where do you want him, Kit?
I really love
Right.
it right up there.
Perfect.
Tonight we had the opportunity to congratulate Mr. Harrison on his Eagle Scout achievement. I always like... Thank you. I like to tell what your Eagle Scout project was, and you built 3 benches, and they are in the garden at the Post Falls Senior Center, correct? Is there a community garden area? So thank you very much. We appreciate your efforts. We know that it is a serious amount of work, and we congratulate you for accomplishing that. It will take you much further down the road as you move on to your college career and your life after school. So with that, I would like to present you with something that Mayor Larkin had started with a nice buck knife. And I don't look at it because it's sharp, but I believe there's an engraving on it for you. And a certificate acknowledging your accomplishments. So on behalf of myself and the City Council, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know the council would like to thank you.
Congratulations. 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 Good job.
I always enjoy recognizing such outstanding young people in our community, so thank you very much for all you've done and for all I'm sure you will do. We do have some announcements. Winterfest celebration, Friday, December 5th at 6 p.m. Winterfest is the city's annual tree lighting with special performances from elementary school choir groups. This year, Ponderosa, Celtice, and Prairie View will be performing, as well as the Fisherman Men's Quartet. Fun for the kids to hear a reading of The Night Before Christmas, to make crafts, and visit with Santa. Holidays and Heroes, December 7th. This is the 16th year for the program, developed to help make the holidays brighter for disadvantaged families in Kootenai County. Police officers and their special young guests will once again head off for a morning of shopping, then head to the Greyhound Park for lunch, gift wrapping, Santa, and fun. Cash donations are greatly appreciated. Non-perishable food items can be dropped off at the Police Department front desk. The December 9th Planning and Zoning Commission has been canceled, and the Park and Recreation Commission meeting has been rescheduled to December 10th at 6 p.m. Also, St. Vincent de Paul of North Idaho is operating the only warming centers in the region. They are open when the temperatures fall below 25 degrees, and they have a full house every night. The warming center is open tonight. They have been open since November 26th, and the Post Falls Warming Center had 15 to 20 people staying warm per night, and Fresh Start had 35 to 40 people per night. Between the 2 locations, they've also had 5 dogs and 2 cats. So they need help in locating kennels. If anyone has a kennel they would like to donate or let St. Vincent de Paul borrow, please contact Jeff Conroy at St. Vincent, 664-3095. I know that there was a real concern at the start of the season, and Mr. Conroy didn't know if they were even going to be able to afford to open the warming center in Post Falls. And the estimated cost is $250 per night to provide for up to, I think, 30 to 35 men in their center. So any help that can be provided would be greatly appreciated, especially as we watch temperatures fall as they have. Thank you for your consideration of St. Vincent. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
There are none tonight.
Are there any declarations of conflict? I will note that I will be signing, if approved, item C under the consent calendar, Village at Serenity Gardens, second edition. I obviously do not vote unless it's a tie, at which point I would not vote because I have a business relationship with the owners, but I just wanted to make that known that if council approves it, I will sign it. Would you please present the consent calendar?
Item A is minutes from the November 18th, 2014 meeting. Item B is payables, November 11th through November 24th, 2014. Item C is Village at Syringa Gardens, second edition plat. Item D is Crown Point second edition construction improvement agreement. Item E is Street Division's purchase of a two-wheel drive, 3/4 ton standard cab pickup. Item F is Streets Division purchase of a 4x4 utility truck. Item G is Police Department telephone system contract with Cerium Networks. And item H is real estate purchase lots 15, 16, and 17 of Block 9 from the Community Presbyterian Church. And no, this does not include the lot that actually has the Jacqueline Arts Cultural Center on it.
Any questions, Shelley? Mr. McCafferty?
Just for clarification, Mr. Mayor, under item C, the Village at Syringa Gardens, if you have a conflict, it might be more prudent to have the president,
Perfect, thank you.
Wilhelm, sign off on that, just to keep it clean. I don't know the extent of the conflict, so I would have raised that earlier. I apologize.
I had no conflict other than the fact that I've do business with them, so. Good. Any questions of Shelley? With that, motion would be entertained.
Move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion seconds. Further discussion?
Just a comment.
Joe.
For those in the audience watching at home, both of the vehicles to be replaced by the Streets Division, one is in excess of 200,000 miles, is over 20 years old. The other is also almost 20 years old and about the same mileage. So these things are shot. They need to be replaced. And the prices that the city was able to obtain for them were actually quite shockingly low. So there's the info for you.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Thorson,
Aye.
Wilhelm,
Aye.
Hissong,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Henderson,
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is public hearings, and we have none. Next is unfinished business, and we have none. Next item is citizen issues. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the council regarding a city-related issue that is not on the agenda. If you do care to address council, please come forward. We'll give you 5 minutes, and no actions will be taken, but we will definitely listen. Chief.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. I'd just like to report on a couple of items. One is the Candy Cane Run. It is scheduled for Saturday, December 13th, here in Post Falls. We're going to start between 3 and 4 o'clock. There's going to be a couple of convoys, and be handing out candy canes as we have for many, many years. Any food that's donated goes to the food bank, obviously, here in Post Falls. Cash goes to Christmas for All, and any toys go to Toys for Tots. I also want to add on to about the Holidays and Heroes event this Sunday, and I just wanted to do a shout out here for Charlene Holbrook. She does a ton of work, takes a lead on that here with the police department, and we're really proud to be associated with that. And also a note for you as well, the Firefighters Local 2856 also donated about $250 cash towards that effort. So they've been very active in supporting the community, and I wanted to bring that to your attention. So I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. We
Thank you.
appreciate you and what your whole department has done. Anyone else? Next item, new business. Memorandum of Understanding with Rathdrum, Prairie, Aquifer, Purveyors. Mr. Beecham, welcome.
Thank you, and good evening. This memo deserves a little bit of history so that you know what the project is that it's in relation to. In the 2014 budget for the Idaho Department of Water Resources, $150,000 was allocated for studies on the Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer to reduce conflict between water purveyors. And that's in continuance of the goals of the Rathdrum Prairie camp that's been ongoing for years. The University of Idaho Water Resources Research Institute, which is difficult to say, so IWERI, successfully proposed to use those funds to establish a study outlining any future water rights gaps that water purveyors might have. This would be done at no cost to cities or water districts, And as part of this, they needed to outline future service areas for each of the water districts. The purpose behind that is to use this study down the road in order to ask for a future or reasonably anticipated future needs water right claim. You have to have established that you don't have an overlap with any other district. So you can't say I'm going to need water for the next county over someday when I am serving them. That would be an unreasonable request. So IWERI worked with the Idaho Department of Water Resources to establish a format that would be acceptable to outline those future service area boundaries. This memo is the work product of that, stating that the water districts throughout the Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer in general plan to serve these areas in the future should service be needed in those areas. By signing this, there's a common document which all the purveyors would be working from. The other benefit to it is it's already established for Post Falls in other documents and in our area of city impact that's already been established. So the way this was developed for Post Falls is IWERI came to us and said, okay, here's your area of city impact. We understand you have agreements with East Green Acres Water District and with Ross Point Water District. Do you have any changes to that? We said, not necessarily. And they said, okay, everybody's on board with that. We'll formalize it in this MOU. Please take that before your council so that we can document these things moving forward. And if anybody needs to submit a future water rights claim, we've established that there's no overlapping areas between those water districts. If there's any questions on this before.
Questions, John? No, and my understanding is there is a memorandum of understanding that we would need a motion authorizing my signature on that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. I'd entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the memorandum of understanding on the Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer Purveyors.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Hissong.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Next item is ordinances and resolutions, and we have none. Administrative staff reports, update on teen court. Who's going to be presenting that? Chief is not here. Thank you very much.
Okay. Wait for them to hit the button to switch the screens over here. Is there a button for it? Don't ask me.
And we need a 4-year-old. I can't figure it out.
Okay.
I didn't jump down there to tell you.
Thank you guys for your time. In September, the chief presented before you about a new program we've started at the Post Falls Police Department called our Teen Court Program. Just want to give you a little update where we're at. A summary of the program for people that don't know what it is. It's a diversionary program to the normal juvenile justice system. So when kids get in trouble, they typically will refer to the juvenile prosecutor's office and can either be put on diversion or probation. Or they can actually serve some time in the juvenile detention center, which is not a pleasant experience. The negative side of those type of programs is it does sometimes result in a criminal record. Our teen court program resolves the violations faster, and it also avoids those records. It's a voluntary program. A child and a parent must agree to that the violation was committed and enter the program. What we've done is we've formed a jury of other teenagers in the community that are screened by the police department. We conduct background checks on them, train them, and then this jury hears what the violation is, hears the admission, and then the child's story, and then they make sentencing findings based on pre-approved guidelines. So we have a specific set what they can actually impose on the child. We've established that the school resource officers will kind of guide this program. So when a kid is referred into the program, their school resource officer will actually be their caseworker for them, so it provides a relationship opportunity with the police department with these juvenile offenders. The presiding SRO at the hearing will serve as that case officer, and will be following up through a 2-month program is typically the length that the kids go through. Right now, the status of the program, we can handle 4 kids a month. And the basis for that is it's the hearing process. We do 1 hearing a month, half-hour hearing. That pretty much wraps up the night. So that's right now our capacity. We do hope and plan to expand that based on if we can get more jurors, and obviously as more kids commit violations, we'll expand the program to include other crimes besides what we call status offenses, or crimes that only can be committed by juveniles. We've had 3 hearings, one each month of September, and our offenders are remaining in our program for 2 months. On the 19th, we had our first graduation. 3 out of 4 of our initial kids graduated. The 4th one needed an extension of time because she had a lot of community service to complete. Our graduates in that graduation class completed a total of 16 hours of community service, took smoking cessation classes, wrote papers and apologies to their victims, including me. I even got an apology. It's kind of nice. And were restricted to which friends they could be around, specifically if they committed the crime with another person. They had a no contact order per se, keeping them from that offender. And then also they were subject to random check-ins by the school resource officer. So we'd randomly show up at school and talk to these kids to see how they're doing. Current status, we have 7 offenders in the program, 8 volunteer jurors, and we're presently recruiting. We've developed a lot of partnerships with the Kootenai County Prosecutor's Office, their juvenile prosecutor, Carmel Ablett. She comes to every hearing. We're working very closely with the Health District. They provide our smoking classes. We're working with Juvenile Diversion. They provide our juvenile detention tours and also some other class opportunities. And we're reaching out to our community here in Post Falls. They're doing most of their community service either at the food bank or the senior center. So ultimately, it's a pretty positive program. The ultimate test to know how it's doing will be in a year when we sit down and figure out recidivism, people committing the crimes again. That I can't. I'm sorry. We're gonna basically see if those kids have committed crimes again within a year's time. If they didn't, that's kind of the national standard to see how well these kids are succeeding. And the kids have been very positive. The parents love the program, and we've been getting great feedback from the community on it. So, is there any questions I can answer?
Questions? Annika?
It's my understanding that this was paid for by a grant.
Correct.
Is there any efforts being made to replace that need for the grant with donations or something? I just hate to see something like this become conditional on that grant year in and year out, and then we're faced with, if we can't find the money, then it's got to go away. And then at that point, trying to go out and raise funds or something. So,
and that may be something that we consider down the road. The grant that we received, if I remember right, it's $14,000 or $16,000, and it was from the Idaho Juvenile Justice Commission. What I've been told is if they're happy with the program, that's a renewable grant. And in fact, they're so happy right now, they've already thrown more money at us to put on a training in Post Falls that we're coordinating with. It's a restorative justice program to train officers and community members how to work with juvenile offenders. So they think we're great right now. And so as long as we keep this up, I would predict that we'll still be able to qualify for that grant. But if we get to that point, I'm sure that we will start thinking of unique ways to keep the program around. The grant pays for our salaries. That's a lot of what it is our time. We have to work after hours to try to keep up with our caseloads with the kids. So that way we can also do our normal police duties. So.
Good. 2 things.
Yes.
Number 1, thank you for what you do. Any time you can step in and hopefully help get our local kids on the straight and narrow, that's a benefit not only to them but to the community as a whole. And number 2, give your name and position so that folks in the TV audience at home can know who's making the presentation.
Certainly. I apologize. My name is Neil Urich. I'm a school resource officer for the Post Falls Police Department.
Neil, are you at the high school? Or?
I am. That's where my office is at.
That's what I thought. I thought we'd give you free airtime.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Neil. Appreciate what you've done.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
Next up is Water Reclamation Division update. Mr. Beecham again.
As you mentioned, I'm John Beecham, the environmental manager. I'll say it this time.
That's for the people.
Getting a lot of airtime tonight, isn't he?
I just wanted to give a quick update since I was here anyway, and on some of the water reclamation projects. We've been in the news a little bit this week even, and just in case you're curious what's going on there, the 3rd Avenue lift station project that had the 3rd Avenue closed for a couple of weeks this summer has reached substantial completion. There's still construction work to be done there and some closeout items on the project. It's not over and probably won't be for another month or so. But the station's in use right now. We're pretty happy with it and excited to be using it instead of the old station, which was definitely in need of an update. The equalization basin, headworks, and solids loading design project is underway. JUB is the design engineer on that, and we expect to have basically a agency review plan set by Christmas. So it'll be a nice present to review over the holidays. We have another project that JUB is designing, which is a replacement for our outfall into the Spokane River. That'll be just a few feet upstream of our current outfall. We're currently pre-qualifying contractors for that work. It's pretty sensitive work, being in the river on a steep embankment. So pre-qualification makes sure that we get contractors who've done that sort of work before and done it successfully. And that submission deadline is this Thursday at 2. I'm sure you've heard we have a new NPDES permit, which is our discharge permit into the river. And in your packets, I have a quick one-page summary on that. I won't go through the entire thing, but I wanted to make sure you had that in case you had any questions. Or if you have any questions in the future, you might be able to find your answer in here. I believe it's the last page of the packet. I did want to run through really quickly kind of the 7-step schedule for a 10-year compliance schedule that's part of that. The first step happened one day ago now. On December 1st, our new permit became effective, and with that, our discharge limits for carbonaceous biochemical oxygen demand, or CBOD, and phosphorus went into effect. Those are slightly reduced from where we are today. I wouldn't say substantially reduced, and I expect we can continue to comply with those limits without great difficulty over the next 8 years. 1 year from now, roughly, a preliminary engineering report is due on how we will meet future, much more stringent limits. Obviously, we need to hire an engineer or produce an engineered report stating how we'll do that, and that's due to EPA in approximately 1 year's time. 3 years out, we must have completed pilot testing toward that technology, which is identified in the report, or have studied enough other pilot tests that we feel we can move forward on a project without doing our own pilot testing. That decision has yet to be made, but I'm sure you'll be involved within it when the time comes to present a couple of paths forward at that point. 5 years from now, the design must be complete for those upgrades, whatever is selected through that process of pilot testing or reviewing other pilot tests. And roughly 8 years from now, the construction must be completed on those items. At that point, we are still not held to the ultra stringent limits in the new permit or the eventual permit, but we must demonstrate progress toward that. And over the 2-year period following construction, we must show that we're able to meet those permit limits. And then the actual new permit limits that have been discussed for 10 years now go into effect on December 1st, 2024. So that's all a pretty big project, but I would like to point out that there are a number of other things that are included in this new permit. Among those is developing a laboratory plan to sample for ultra-low levels of PCBs, maintaining and updating our current operations and maintenance plan for the existing facility. That's something we can do as we move along. We also need to develop a phosphorus management plan and a toxics management plan. Those 2 items outline steps we will take to reduce phosphorus or toxics like PCBs or dioxin into the Spokane River. And then one big thing that I'm not sure has received a lot of press is we must take over as the permitting authority for our pretreatment program for industrial users. And that we must take that over within 1 year's time, or at least submit on how we're going to do that. So as you can see, I'll probably be back here presenting some of these things to you in the future. At this point, I mostly wanted to make you aware of them and let you know that we are moving forward to get those plans accomplished.
Thanks, John.
certainly entertain any questions.
Isn't it true that our permits actually expired about 10 years ago, and it's taken this long to get to this point?
I believe that is correct. It was a
So it's a 10-year
1999.
10-year process to get them approved. And I think the next 10 years, I know Mr. Klatt's in the audience, but I think it's about 40 to 50 million over the next 10 years, with the total cost to go up significantly after that. And there was an interesting comment by Mr. Frederickson in Coeur d'Alene Press today, who's wastewater manager in Coeur d'Alene, that it's, what did he call it, the contaminant du jour. And you never know what they're going to come up with next. So we're planning for everything now. We're good stewards, always have been. We'll continue to be good stewards, but you never know quite what they're going to come up with. So it's going to be interesting over the next 10 years anyway to see what transpires. Any questions, John?
Were you as nervous, was this as bad as you thought it would be, presenting to the council?
No, not quite as bad as I thought it would be.
I asked council to be here, so. No, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Council comments.
I got a couple. Our city administrator updated us today on a lot of inquiries about Spokane Street and the lighting. So the good news is, mid-December, the fixtures will be in, and it'll take a couple weeks to get them installed. So any of you that travel back and forth on Spokane Street, north and south, that have been concerned about how dark it is there, it's winter and it's dark, but it will get lighter. There's light at the end of the tunnel. My other comment is about the holiday and heroes. What a lot of people might not know, when next Sunday, when you see all these uniformed officers and our patrol cars out and about at both of the Walmarts and all over town picking up these young people, is they're not on the clock. That's an extraordinary part of this program to me. They're all volunteering. They might be wearing their uniforms. They might look like they're on duty, but not only are they donating their time, but a lot of their families are involved too, and it's just it's an incredible program, so I thank you in advance for that. And then I have one more. Former Mayor Clay Larkin is still the point guy of that state veterans home, and because we won't have a council meeting before the meeting, on Monday, December 15th at 6:30 p.m., it'll be held as a public meeting held at the American Legion Post, and it will be an update on the state veterans home in Post Falls. So the folks from Boise are coming up. Hopefully they've got an early Christmas present with some of their announcements, but the first meeting was held in July, so this is an update on that, and that's December 15th, 6:30 p.m. at the American Legion in Post Falls.
Kerry, it seems I saw an email from the mayor that the folks from the Legion Hall said that there were some other issues, so I thought maybe it had been pushed off until after the first of the year, so.
Oh, that was only at the very beginning of the email roundabout, but yeah, no, we're good. It is, yeah, it is set
Okay,
for
'cause
December 15th.
I had not seen that update. I just saw the one that talked about postponing it. Good, thank you. Any other councilors?
Good.
I don't have any additional comments tonight, other than be safe, it's cold, watch out for the kids, and if we do get snow, be extra cautious, and little kids out playing in the streets. With that, I would entertain a motion.
Adjourn.
To adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, meeting adjourned.
Go Zags.